Okay. Okay. And then, so
Okay.
do you think you're ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. This is very exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Let me pull up the questions. Okay. All right. Well, I'd like to welcome our guest practicer for the day, Adriano. Tell us a little bit about yourself, including where you're from.
Hello, Christy. Very, very happy to be part of this live stream. I am from Mexico. I was born in Mexico, and I lived in the United States as well, and now I'm living in Spain.
How,
And
I was going to
yes,
say, how long have you lived in Spain? And how long did you live? So how old were you when you moved to Spain? Like, how long were you in Mexico?
well, in Mexico, I was since I was born until I was like 17 years old, and I left, and I moved to Texas, and then I went back to Mexico. I forgot it was 23, 24. Then I I moved I moved to Spain like 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been like between 9 and 10 years now.
Okay. And do you think you'll stay there? Do you love it?
I do love it a lot, just like everybody that comes here. I think it's really, really wonderful country. I'm not like lately. I find myself about the same everywhere. So,
Good. Happy
yeah,
anywhere? Is that what you're saying? You can be
yeah,
happy. Oh, good. Good.
yeah,
My
yeah.
son is going to go live in Spain for a month this summer.
Oh well, to
Yeah.
what city?
I think he's going to Barcelona.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah,
Yeah.
I was living in Barcelona.
Yeah, so he's just going to see how it goes, right? Just for fun, for a summer adventure. So, okay, so tell us about your relationship with the piano and kind of what's your musical story or your story with the piano?
Well, I started I started lessons in Mexico, in a city I grew up, but not very not very focused, not very serious. It was more like a casualty. No, casualty, no, it's casual, more casual. And yeah, casualty is different. Yeah. No, no. Yeah. Well, well, maybe it's related to that. No, no. Yeah, well, and it was like yeah, it was very casual. I was studying in regular school or science school and science subjects, and and then I think when I first saw classical music on TV, maybe in a cartoon or in a movie, I really liked it, and I told my mother to buy me or to get me that music. And she got me this CD of Beethoven that was the best of Beethoven. She got it at Walmart,
Oh,
and it was $3.
wow.
And when I listened to this, the very first time I knew anything about Beethoven, the Egmont Overture, I remember that this was one of the tracks, the Eroica Symphony. I was just completely in love with that.
Mm, mm.
I was like crying every single day of love and happiness when
Wow.
I listened to that, and I really wanted to do that somehow. Some of the stuff was orchestral now, but I loved every single note of that. I probably didn't exactly know what I was listening, but I really loved it. I think it was that time that I knew I wanted to be more serious, and I started practicing more, and it was, I think, the what it gave me the push, I think, to when I just care about practicing and nothing else, whether I had an electronic keyboard or a piano, whatever, or or even the table, whatever.
Wow.
but the thing is that then when I moved to the United States, to Texas, I had my first very professional instructor for 3 years, which was like a second mother to me. Really wonderful musician, wonderful pianist and composer. And it's the first time that I made a, a great evolution, because I was like playing with like hands like this, and I didn't even know how to use the pedal. And after some time with her, I made a tremendous change, and it's my first tremendous change. You know, then after those 3 years, I was very unstable in my places and in myself, and so I was going like pretty much up and down. And then, well, when I all these years after, now I met you and the Peery School, the Peery Academy. I make a second big change.
Good.
So are the two you and her are my two teachers that have really helped me making big changes. Even though it's a big time between one and the other. Well, both schools are separated by time, but I see like this that a good methodology really works. Really, it's a big, very big universe playing the piano. So yeah, I remember that I was at that time I really wanted to be concert pianist. I wanted to be I went to some competitions. I even got in the England Conservatory. I was, but didn't. I couldn't accept the generous offer they gave me, because it was just that was like. I mean, it was like almost $40,000, and so I could. They gave me like almost $10,000 of scholarship, but I couldn't pay the rest. So,
Right.
uh,
So
so
expensive.
it was like, yeah. Well, it's. I think that also I was like in constant moving just too much. I think I needed to be more steady, maybe more. It's just I was like just catching options like this without.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but yeah. Then now, uh, right now, my relationship with music is it kind of changed drastically from there, because. Well, in the when I was starting working for the church as an organist, I started for somehow I don't know how I started composing, and it was something that I don't know how it happened. It was in the mass, in the celebration of the mass. There is a part where there is an offertory. The organist has to play something, you know. And I don't know how every celebration I was composing and composing with all more heart. All until I came up with a composition that I did. I don't know how, it just was inspired by the Passion of the Christ to compose a suite for piano. It was just very shocking for me to experiment this, and so I wanted to compose more until kind of a miracle happened also in the same with the same people that I work. I met an sponsor that actually is sponsoring me my composition studies, as well as my living expenses, which is I actually think was a miracle. Very lucky.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I didn't even ask for this. Was like an offer, because I think they were getting tired of of the compositions I was playing. I think they, we need you to get better. So,
No, they saw all of your potential and wanted to
yeah.
fostering it is what it was. They loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe combination of both. I think. but then that's how I became completely serious in composition, and that's what that's what I do the most now.
Wow. So so is your primary job as a church organist?
Yes,
Okay, so that's how you make a living. And then are you still getting sponsored for as a composer?
yes, yeah,
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that, Adriano. That's really neat.
yeah. Otherwise,
Amazing.
otherwise it wouldn't be possible for me to be here in Spain.
Okay. Oh, so that's yeah. And what does your church job entail? Like, how many services do you play a week?
Well, it depends. Sometimes I play three, sometimes I just play one. But also in the seminar, there's a no,
Yeah, sure.
seminary.
Seminary. Uh-huh.
There are some concerts sometimes that I have to play. But there I don't play my compositions. I play like chamber music, but that's not very often. That's like kind of I wouldn't say improvised, but well, yeah, that's kind of improvised.
Okay. And do you play
It's not a steady.
do you play always organ or do you play sometimes piano too? And when did you learn to play the organ? Because that's a different beast than the piano.
Yeah, no, the organ is not really. I have played the big organs of the churches with those that have all these tubes and
Yep.
all these pedals,
Yep.
but that's not the one I play regularly. The one I play regularly is the electric one.
Okay.
It's just have so it's very anybody that can play piano can play this one.
But you still play the
And
pedals, right? Either it still has pedals.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The pedal will be the bass,
Yeah.
and so it is kind of different because of these pedals. But
Wow. Okay. That's really fast. I had no idea. I had no idea you were a working musician. Very few people get to be able to do that.
very. I just call it like providential luck.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so what motivated you to want to share your practicing with us today?
Well, I was very inspired by these practices you made of the Chopin ballad, and I missed a lot. It made me it reminded me of all this conservatory environment and all these
Mm,
festivals and all this music environment that I wanted to go back to.
mm,
So I felt inspired by this, and also I think it gives me some kind of responsibility because I am one of these people that tell, oh, I'm gonna practice this piece for sure this month, and I never do it.
mhm.
So I think
It was me.
yeah,
Sure.
it gives me kind of an edge the live stream to like it also at least I kind of gave a pass through the Mephisto yesterday.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
So
right.
it's actually remember it more than I thought. I think
Good.
it's part of my hand. It's
Yeah, right. It becomes that way. And then you'll have to give us updates too. You could do updates.
yes,
That can also inspire you. It is interesting how much we need kind of even though practicing is such a private thing, we do need other people like a community to help kind of
yes,
hold us accountable or to share it with. It is hard to be motivated to practice and have no one to share it with, or no idea of, a deadline or a goal or it's such a long process. It's nice to have whether it's a weekly lesson or just knowing somebody's going to listen to it or, it's
yes, of course.
yeah, I get that because I don't know if you've followed my Chopin blot all the way through, but I
Oh
now at
yes,
the
yeah,
pattern of like 5 days of practice, 2 weeks off. 5 days of practice, 2 weeks off is not the best way to make progress.
Oh, no, no, it's not the best,
Either.
but don't you feel like your muscles are stronger after some kind of break, some kind of rest?
I do best with 2 days off, not 2
2 days
weeks
off.
off.
Oh, yeah.
2 weeks off, I'm like falling down the ladder and then climbing back up and falling down. It's just, but yes, that's one of the reasons I've liked doing this live stream too. Is it's like I'm pretending people are counting on me to practice.
Yeah. No, I actually, I think if I ever, I even dream with this Chopin ballad, which is some, yeah. The D flat section is in my head now.
Oh, have you played that? Have you played that one?
No, I never. I'm kind of very respectful with with Chopin. I think it's
I agree.
very difficult.
I agree. That is true of this piece. That's why I've never played it before now either. There are some pieces you're scared to touch.
But now that I've seen you playing this Chopin ballad, I didn't know it was that hard. Actually,
It's the hardest part, and the coda
Yes.
is worse. But the rest of it is really doable. So I think if I can get those few pages, then the rest of it's not bad. And it's
not
way
that bad.
easier than the Mephisto Waltz that you're playing today.
It's
Way
easier,
easier.
but in what way it will be easier? Like because they are very different, no?
Very different. I think physically it's a lot easier. Just the
Oh yes, of course.
yeah.
Yes.
But yes, like
I-
I think emotionally, I mean the things with those just musical and emotional and kind of depth, more emotionally deep pieces, you just have to bite the bullet. I'm speaking to myself. Just bite the bullet and play it knowing you're not going to play it the way you want. And then it has to
Oh.
sit in you and you need to relearn it. And it's about on the third relearning that you can actually start playing it. But if you never play it badly the first time, right, then you never are taking that journey towards relearning it the third time. Because it does,
Oh,
it has
okay.
to become, like you said, like it has to become, like you were saying with the Mephisto Waltz, like it's part of your body. So it's like that body to ear connection of where you can know it so well that it's all inside of you. Because you need that for the emotional depth of it, and you're
Oh, yeah,
not going to get it on the first learning.
that's right. Now I'm just remembering that nobody told me anything about Liszt. So maybe that's why I was brave enough to
Yes.
try the Mephisto.
Right,
And
right.
Chopin is a composer that even I had teachers that told me, oh, forget about Chopin and Mozart, just focus on the bravura stuff.
Yeah. Right.
So
Right.
So I grew up with this respect to Chopin.
I think
But,
he's probably the greatest pianistic composer in terms of just bringing out the poetry that all that the piano can do without
Yes.
just that, like you said, the bravura stuff. But yeah, and it's interesting. I don't feel super connected. Like he's difficult for me, but I keep getting drawn back to him. I feel more connected to like German, Beethoven, Bach.
Oh, of course.
Beethoven and Bach mostly. They feel more natural to me. Chopin, but I've played so much Chopin in my life, but because it is just music written specifically for the piano. Do you know, he
Yes.
writes for the piano like nobody else writes for the piano. So you feel
course,
very
it's-
appreciated. Yeah.
It's,
You should learn it. You could
Yeah.
learn it, and we could have a competition who can learn the fastest. You will, because I need to not take 2 weeks off every 5 days.
No, I'm not. I wouldn't learn it from zero. Thanks to you. Thanks to your live streams. I think well, they make these stories of pianists that in the conservatory, when they go to to sleep, they hear other pianists play, and they're learning the piece somehow.
Right,
I think it's true.
I think it's true too. Oh, for sure. And I'm not surprised you're a composer after hearing, that you hear it. Oh, that's my dog. Hear so much with keys, and you hear the structure of the piece. I think that helps you learn it faster too, because you understand compositionally what's going on. So, yeah, you should do it. That'd be fun. Okay, so what are you practicing today, and what's kind of, I like to think of like you have a plan or something. Do you have a plan or a goal for today's practice, or what are you practicing and what are you trying to do with it?
Well, with the Mephisto, especially, I wanted to record it. I have a recording of the Mephisto, especially in this instrument, and I think this is in the piano repertoire. There's a lot of repertoire that I think a lot of people, especially people that has never known anything about Liszt before or any other composer. Well, I learned actually in Barcelona when I played in some recitals that people that didn't know the existence of Liszt really likes this music, and also likes, for example, the Beethoven Tempest, which is such a modern sonata. It's very modern piece too, and actually people like it, and I think maybe somebody that is not a specialist at all, maybe they're not gonna stand up for a whole symphony the first try, but I think there are some piano pieces that people can digest easily, even if they don't. Well, like the very first time I heard this Beethoven music, I really wish I would have done it before. I would
Right.
have actually. I think that there's a lot of people out there that maybe don't know that the Mephisto is actually very. I mean, it's hard to play, but it's not that hard to listen or to follow. And so that's what I want to do with it. And also, this is a piece that has like different kinds of techniques. And somehow I don't know what happens when I play it. I feel like my technique comes back again to me. like even if I haven't played for some days, even longer, I try to play the Mephisto and something happens. I think Liszt has this pianistic intelligence of writing somehow that so I feel that something comes back to my to my fingers when I play this piece. I think that's one of the differences I see with Chopin. All these different kinds of difficulties of technique that has a list work. So it's and also I like it a lot. This Mephisto Waltz. I think I did it so much before that I feel like it's part of my hand.
Nice. So have you played? Is this something you've performed before? Like, where are you in your process of learning performing it? Are you bringing it back? Are you still in, like, what stage of practicing are you in with this piece?
Well, I'm trying to bring it back because I did perform it before.
Okay.
And I think I do want to accomplish something that I have really never accomplished with this piece, and is playing the third movement with ease, which I think, of course, thank God that not many pianists do it. So the thing is that that's some of the things that I see in Liszt that are so crucial. When he wants this effect of piece of cake, I think it's just in my opinion, is the greatest technical realization one can have, to play this kind of music with ease. Like, oh, it's very easy.
Easy, right.
I mean, you can maybe 5 pianists in the world can do it.
Right. And even then they practice. It wasn't easy for it. It is just not easy for anybody, right? Even the ones that are gifted, it took them a lifetime to get to where they were.
There is one question that I was going to reserve for later. I'm wondering if Liszt really practiced his own way of technical and muscular exercises for 5 hours a day for so many years. I wonder if this is true.
I bet. I remember hearing Olga Kern. Do you know her? I think she won the
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Van Cliburn.
And I remember I heard her live. I don't know. maybe 15 years ago. And I was sitting about third row back, and it was a kind of a small auditorium, or a small theater, concert hall. And she was just phenomenal, just musically, technically. I have never heard a pianist live play, like at least physically like she did, and music, so musically too. But then I read an interview with her that said she practices consistently 10 hours a day. So
Oh,
10 hours a day.
wow.
And the first 4 hours were spent on trills. Like she
Oh
literally,
no.
right. That's what
So
I
it
said.
is. So it is true. The legend is true. It's real.
Yeah. So
Oh
I think,
no.
I think when people become, that's what's so fascinating to me about practicing, is because when people become honest about their practice, what's a miracle is that she's willing to do that. And I'm sure she's talented and physically capable, but I mean, she also, to do what she did when I read that, I'm like, of course it's 10 hours. I've practiced my whole life. You've practiced, you know what I mean? You know what it takes to sit down and play that kind of music with such precision and such musical acuity. It's not magic. It's work.
No, it's
It's
work.
work.
Yes.
It's work. So I think, Liz, yes, of course, you're a genius or whatever, but also you don't get away with great piano playing with genius alone. You just don't.
No.
You
No.
don't.
No. No.
It's such a physical, it's such a complex physical activity, including just not just getting around the nose, but like we do with Peery stuff, like making
Yeah.
specific sounds. It just takes such repetition to control your instrument,
So
which is your hands. So
so these muscular exercises that you teach us, they should be done 5 hours a day better than to be able to play the transcendental legends. That would be a casualty.
No, see, this is where people are blown away, is that I'm super lazy. This is the thing. Like, I'm obsessive, but I'm lazy. So my whole approach to this building this method was bang for your buck. Like, what can I, if I'm not going to practice trills for 5 hours a day, I can't. I'm not that obsessive.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what can I do to get the most bang, like the most bang for my buck in the time that I'm willing to put in? And that's the genius, I think, behind the Peery method, is it's just gives really super efficient. Now, if you want to go OCD, sure, just practice. But
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
it 5 or 6 hours a day, just
Oh
trill.
my
I mean,
God.
how could you do? I just won't. But I don't play like her either. But I play well enough. I mean, in my day, I haven't played like that for practiced like that for 20 years. But I, yeah, I just don't. I don't want to live. It's a life of trills. So
Of course.
yeah,
Yeah. It's
and but it's amazing. It's amazing to listen to. So when you go into your practice, do you have like a specific, I mean, I have it very organized, like I'm going to structured, or do you just kind of go as you feel? Like, do you go through and place, do you have an organized structure that you have in mind as you're going forward to practice today?
Yeah, well, what I always do is I warm up with the muscle builders and power fingers,
Okay.
and also somehow the hand over hand,
Okay.
the
Okay.
chords of the hand of the hand, kind of give me something in some parts of the Mephisto that because I think in the Mephisto I have some bad habits of thinking that because of doing weird stuff with my elbow, it will be better.
Mm, mm,
so,
mm, mm. Yeah. Yeah.
so I think you can see that.
It looks
I
dramatic.
was, yeah, and I think that the hand over hand gives. I don't know. I feel that when I apply that to my pistol, I say, well, maybe it's not so hard
Mm,
to get this sound. I don't need to do
right.
something so exaggerated. I don't have to jump over the
Right. Right.
I
Right.
think I think it's I don't know how these muscle builders and power fingers, but this hand over hand gives me some psychological advantage to all this to those spaces that when you play this chord like this and like that and well the thing I think what the problem is that probably I never did this before. I think I jumped in the repertoire very quickly
Right.
without. So psychologically, I think I see the way of making big sound to be
Mm,
something of of doing crazy stuff with my body.
Right.
So when I practice this Peery method, I kind of feel that I don't know, there is some, I don't know if I'm going crazy, but I think that probably really playing the piano and having a big sound, having a great technique, it's probably not as hard as I have made it, as I
Right.
have. I think I have created an extra difficulty. Actually, I had this tendency before. I think maybe it's not. Maybe all. I'm not alone in this when making a piece harder than it
Right.
really is. And yeah, like in the Mephisto, in the ending of the first movement, something like this. Really, when I didn't just leave it down, leave all the weight like that.
Right. Right. Right.
It actually happened. I didn't have to do. So I think that's the muscle builders and the power fingers and this kind of hand. Is probably always from the beginning. This I
Right.
start with this,
Okay.
and then I the other thing I used to do the Chopin Etude Opus 10 number 4 after the muscle builders and
Great.
after this because there's also some appliances in the fingers of being very close to the keys and all this. But when I just do the muscle builders and power fingers and hand over hand, and then, for example, the Mephisto, somehow I think it's even better.
Okay.
I don't know if the Chopin Etude takes away, I don't know if it takes away stamina or, but I do feel that somehow this Chopin Etude, when I don't do it that much and then I go back to it, something happens and I do it better. And for some reason, if I just do it every day, I don't see so many results. This is
Interesting.
yeah. This is some. I think there is something about these Chopin etudes that there's this foundation that has to that maybe I don't have so much built. That's something about Chopin I respect so much. I think it's like building a house.
Totally. Right. You have
Yeah,
to get that
it's
foundation.
like so with the Chopin etude, it's like I have to go to the plans of the house to see what's wrong all the time. So
Totally.
it's so I kind of trying to focus on the foundation of the house, or no, or maybe and maybe go back to this this Chopin etude. What it does do every single day is that it's like everything becomes easier.
Okay.
I think everything becomes easier, but I think it's a psychological trick because it's obviously tremendously hard. This
Right.
I don't know if
Right.
this is the third hardest etude
Yeah.
after the thirds and the sixth and this. And of course, I think it's a psychological feeling, no, that almost everything else is easier.
Right. Right. No, there is something to that. Just practicing playing the hardest stuff, and
Yeah,
always beyond a little bit what you can do because it makes everything else a little bit more accessible, like pushing yourself. So you will
yeah.
be playing through the Chopin today?
Well, I could, I wasn't really planning, but
Okay.
I,
Up to you.
I could, maybe I could give it a little try. And the thing is that I think yesterday that I tried the Mephisto, I kind of did it better without doing the Chopin.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So, is that everything then? Are you ready to start?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And since this doesn't have chat, we had a little trouble with the StreamYard, so we're doing it over Zoom. I, if you want to stop at any point and I can give you feedback or not, I mostly am just here to listen and to just be your
Oh,
host.
okay.
So just, whatever, I'll be here the whole time, but I'll minimize me and mute me unless you say something, and we'll just turn it over to you at this point. Does that sound good?
Okay, sounds fantastic.
Okay, great. Thanks, Adriano. Okay, I'll mute
No,
myself.
thanks to you.
Okay.
So I'm gonna change to Clavinova.
can hear that. I can hear that. That sounds good. Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I definitely take a little breath from that. Yeah, I had I had better condition yesterday.
I think it's sounding good. Are you
No,
gonna? Are you gonna?
I mean physically was felt stronger yesterday.
Okay. So are you
Yeah,
taking
yeah.
a break? Are you taking a break for the rest of the day or just like
Oh no
temporarily?
no 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 just for a minute. No, just for a moment.
Okay, good, good,
I don't
good,
know.
good.
Yeah. There's well, I don't know how much more time we have. No, I can go much more. It takes something more than this to stop me.
Good, good, good. You're just taking a temporary break.
Of
Right,
course.
right.
Well, yeah, I think I should have started a little bit. I shouldn't have jumped to it like that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, do you normally do like a playthrough? Like what do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Ah, you mean like playing from the whole thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Huh. I should have, right? Yeah, I should have. I should do that.
Do you
Yeah, the
ever
thing
do
is,
do you do that as part of your practice at all? You're saying
actually
no.
no. I actually I am I always stop in the places that I this some places that I for some reason some places I don't care so much if I am not if I don't do it as that well, but other places I discriminate. I discriminate like this place I wanted to sound good.
Right,
I
right, right,
think,
right.
but for some reason other places don't happen like this. I am more like I can I can keep up with my defeat in some other
Yeah.
places. But for some reason like in this I in this in this I mean, the recapitulation of this slow movement, the variation, like I don't know, maybe it's not so. For some reason, I get obsessive of these three notes.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't feel well like if I just skip, if I just do two
Right.
notes instead of three.
Right, 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 right,
And,
right.
but yeah, I think that's probably good to play the whole thing, just like just
I like to do that right at the beginning just to see kind of where it stands. Once
oh,
I know
okay,
the
that's
piece, I don't know yet, you know what I mean? Like just to see kind of it gives me the best indication of maybe how it would go in a performance, like because you're on an instrument, I mean, it kind of gives you the most um kind of I don't know how this will go yet, you know. After you've
yes,
practiced a while, it's a different thing than just sitting down and playing it cold. It kind of exposes the weakest parts, which helps then um, focus the stuff you really want to work on for that practice session. Do you know what I mean?
yes.
I find that to be useful.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that's something I never understood. But now I understand it. Of the when I was in the conservatory environment, I really saw that some, especially the most advanced students, were always playing through
Oh,
the whole thing, no matter how it went. And I
uh-huh.
was listening, oh,
Right,
why aren't they stopping there?
right.
But but they actually do like the Chopin concertos, for example, that I think they are monumental works. They were actually playing the whole way through, no matter what.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why they were doing it.
I think so. I
Yeah,
mean, that's good,
yeah,
and because you have to get used to that process of it's like a different muscle. It's kind of a different endurance thing too, right? Like to play from the
yes,
beginning to the end with that focus and without um being able to take kind of a break or just and just practicing like then like you might be tempted to like you're practicing if you practice stopping all the time you might it's hard to let go. It kind of helps you see things in a bigger picture too. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah, that's right. Yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
And then to
Actually,
go back and do isolated, or at some point you could do it at the end of the day too. But of course, doing isolated practice like you're doing is you have to. You can't just play
yeah.
through it over and over again. I mean, that's never going to work.
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah, Yeah. Well, yeah, I think I'm I'm ready to go back to the third movement.
To the grind. Okay. Awesome. It's sounding good. It's so fun to hear you play, Adriano.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
So that's good day.
That's good. You getting worn out?
Well, I think no, I think the first to go crazy is my head, and
Yeah.
then the fingers can go all day.
Right, right, right. That's
But
such a
I
hard
think
part.
yeah. It's but I just realized that I was playing these 4 years very heavy. All this part, piano. It says piano,
Oh.
and then this is the jam. Parapam-pam, parapam-pam. Of course, I think I heard a recording. I don't know,
Uh-huh.
some of these pianists that play this very loud,
Yeah,
and
I've
I
heard it play
didn't.
loud too. Yeah.
But it says Guillermo here.
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
So
uh-huh.
I think it has to build to the climax. Ba-bam, ba-ba-ba-bam. So
Right, 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 right. So it's more of a
I think
surprise.
yeah. I think now it's I think it's having the difficulty. If I play everything so loud.
Right, right. Not giving yourself any breaks, and it creates better contrast that way too.
Yeah.
Right.
It's yeah. I was trying to ask him, is this really that hard? And I saw here in the journal.
Yeah, sure.
No, no. No, I'm not. So how much more do we have?
It's up to you, Adriano. Whatever. What would you normally do?
Of no, I mean I usually. I mean I well, I. I think well this piece I was planning to give to do a whole hour with this
Okay.
piece.
Okay, perfect.
Uh, but I don't know if maybe maybe Liz doesn't agree with that. Maybe he says that it's 5 hours.
Right. Seriously. I'm sure. I'm sure that's what he
Yeah.
would want.
Yeah. So that it will come like a piece of cake.
Right, 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 exactly. Well, what would be fun too is if you continue practicing it to give us an update, like do another one in a month or something if you
Yeah, of course. I would
yeah, and
love to.
here.
Yes.
Yeah, are you planning to keep practicing it?
Yeah. I want to. Yeah, because I this kind of bringing it back is not the first time I do it. So I think I got tired of bringing it back. I think I want to move it forward, move it.
Right, 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 right.
So that it's like always pushing the car from from behind. I want the car that go all the way.
Exactly, exactly. Well, I think that's a good start of getting it. I mean, it's yeah, you clearly know the whole thing, and so now you're at that phase of just really kind of perfecting it, right? Like getting really under control, which is, I think, some of the hardest. It's like you get 80%, and then the last 20, each percentage is incrementally harder, I think.
Yes,
Just,
yes.
yeah.
I think the perfection of this piece is no joke.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
It's definitely something very to take very serious.
Yeah. It's its own challenge, right? So fun. Okay, well, is there any closing thoughts you have, or how did you feel like today went?
Well, definitely, I am happy to see that some parts is not the only part that I saw that I was making it harder. I
Mm,
think there are there are places where I am trying to get a lot of sound from the very beginning,
mm,
and then I don't reach any more sound later on.
sure.
So I think if I make an interpretation of the intensities in context, I think it can make my life simpler. You know,
Yeah.
in playing this piece, I think I'm not taking too literal for this. Whenever it's two fourths or three fourths in this part. Yes. Well, maybe I don't know. I don't know if to take it literally, but at the same time, maybe this now, if he hears this, he must be kicking his coffin.
Right. Too much. Much. Well, sometimes, especially forte dynamics can be interpreted more like with just energy, not necessarily volume, or like
Oh, okay.
intensity, right? And not necessarily volume. I mean, sometimes it's just something to consider that we naturally always think that forte is volume, just louder and louder. But it can just be intensity, even if you're not putting in it um physically all of the sound that you can. And like you said, like pacing, like deciding where is the biggest volume part, and
Yes.
what precedes it, and like how's that going to sound the biggest? Is it with things that come before and after it, for sure, right? So it's just
Oh,
making those decisions and
oh,
giving yourself places to relax. I mean, the middle section helps with that, but
oh, yes.
which you played beautifully. That was
Oh, thank you,
beautiful.
thank
Yeah,
you.
it's beautiful.
Uh,
You have a beautiful tone.
I don't know
Yeah,
if
so
I went too crazy.
I know. No, I think that's the point, right? Like that
Yeah.
this kind of music gives so much allowance for that of,
Oh, yes.
you know, kind of over the
Yes.
top.
It's the
It's
ideal environment.
yeah, exactly. That's what it calls for. So so
Yeah, well,
fun.
that's definitely something new. I think it makes sense about the energy.
Mm.
About actually, it has actually, well, at least was in some way intellectual too. So I think
Totally.
I think he maybe, yeah, that's the energy is also, yeah, it makes. I mean, of course, there is all this technical work that is required not to play at ease, but I think part of it is also all understanding the dynamics, like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
say.
Yeah.
It's like there is an intellectual meaning about every dynamic, I think.
Yeah. When as a composer, what markings you put in. And it's so hard with music, that you have this thing in your ear, and then that's complex and has so much
Yeah,
infinite
the thing is
sound.
that's a big problem what you just said, because as a composer I am very literal in my
Mm,
dynamics.
mm, mm.
I think that there are some parts that are just not playable in some
Yeah.
of the in some of the
Right,
music I
because
would like to.
you're writing what you're hearing, right? What's in your imagination, kind of what you hear, and then you're supposed to write it out in this, with certain symbols that are kind of limited in our language. And it would be interesting too if like scores were written in colors, so you could see different like shades, just different granularities instead of just black and white and all. Or even like we've thought of, if note sizes, not durations, but like if some notes were bigger, fatter, or skinnier, even like, so a quarter note could look a bunch of different ways, I mean, to interpret kind of what you're trying to
Oh,
project. I mean, we have to interpret all of that as pianists, but seeing just like a whole universe in a composer's ear then goes on like two-dimensional black and white paper. It leaves
yes.
us a lot of room for
Yeah.
trying to figure it out, you know?
Oh, of course. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big universe.
Yeah. And Liszt isn't around to say much anymore too. And we're playing on different instruments than he even played on. So it's,
Oh, that's
it's,
right.
it's quite a journey to figure it all out. But
Yeah.
but it is a crazy piece. I mean, it is
Yeah, I think
very passionate.
it's underestimated, I think.
Yeah,
This piece, I think they always, I mean, of course, the Mazepa piece is just
yeah.
absolutely terrifying, and the Contrabandista,
Yeah,
I just heard that piece is it's it really really showed that in the piano the impossible was possible. But I
yeah,
think that I do think that this piece is definitely harder than it is actually being accepted in the literature. I think,
yeah, for sure.
yeah,
It's
because
hard.
all the transcendental etudes must be harder because they are transcendental. No? But I think a lot of people have forgot that this piece is not. Well, it's I see that everything that is from a literature novel or a literary work like a Faust or other stuff. I think this is just very tough. There
Yeah,
are it has to be storytelling, has to be
that's right.
so many things. And
That's
I think
right.
everything of this that is also well, there are transcriptions. You played a transcription very beautifully, of Schubert.
Of
Or
Schumann. Yeah, yeah,
Schumann,
yeah. But he did a lot of Schubert transcriptions too of Schubert songs.
Schubert
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah, and
The
like some of the operas, I'm trying to remember,
oh
like
yeah,
Rigoletto, and he did a lot of transcriptions.
yeah.
Have you ever
There's
done? Yeah, you should look at them. I
yeah.
mean, everything's so hard.
I look at Rigoletto a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's very
It's
beautiful
fun.
this
It
piece.
is beautiful.
Yeah. It's well, I think it's also it's very genius, no? What this could do with these transcriptions.
Genius. Yeah, with all of
The
it.
seven Beethoven Symphony, the seventh symphony also on this.
Right, right. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, and then I'm thinking, and then you have all the Hungarian dances and um yeah, and all the concert etudes and the sonata. Have you played the sonata? It's so beautiful.
Actually, that's one of the pieces I used to hear 100,000 times in the conservatory. The same part. The pianist, like there were like five pianists doing the same part of the development. That is
Oh,
crazy.
oh no.
That is.
Yeah.
I think I must be able to play this
To
part
play it
even
without
so many
totally,
times.
totally. That's so
but, but
funny.
but it's
Yeah.
an amazing piece. This
Well,
is
and like you
an
said, like the pieces fall in and out of like popularity too. I mean, like
yes.
you mentioned with the Mephisto Waltz, it isn't played much anymore, but it was a
Oh no.
lot like a while ago. It just I think it's come doing a phase. So maybe it'll make a
Yes.
comeback of where it's really the transcendental issues I don't think are played that much. I don't
Oh
know.
no.
I don't know as much anymore.
No. Those the suicidal legends.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Those are fun.
But there are some things. I don't know if you heard of this Royal College of Music standard difficulty.
Yeah.
I think this is so out of place when, for example, the Chopin Etudes Opus 10 number 4 has a level 8
Oh,
of
really?
difficulty. And for example, the Chopin Prelude, the D minor, the last one, has level 9. This is completely, this doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, there are other graded, yeah. I mean, and things it's so hard to grade things into levels of difficulty because it's
Yeah, there's no way, I think.
yeah.
It's,
Yeah, that's odd.
yeah,
Yeah, I
it's,
don't really
I
agree.
never understood. And, but yeah, like pieces that are like, I wouldn't the Chopin Etude, I wouldn't put level 8, I would put infinite.
Yeah, right, right, right.
Infinite level.
Higher level than I could ever play. Right, right,
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
But you can notice that I already one kind of crazy with this. I can go on all day.
It's so fun. Well, it's been so fun practicing with you. And yeah, please plan on giving us an update. I think that'd be really fun to hear the
Of
progress as
course,
you
I
continue
would love
practicing
to.
this. So fun. Well, thanks. So we'll end it here. And yeah, I'll just try and post this tomorrow then.
Okay,
Yeah. So
okay,
hopefully
that's
you'll see it soon.
yeah. I will look forward for it.
Okay, good. Well, thank you, Adriano. Have a good day. And I will go
Thank
to
you very
bed
much.
now.
I'm sorry. I didn't think about that. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, no, no. It's okay. I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well,
I'll
have
see
a good
you.
night. I'll see
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks.